folks. We are going live on the YouTube. Hi, hi, hi. Welcome to Voice Lessons Live with Munifa on YouTube. And have a great friend, former client here, Miss Jen Yang. And just so glad that we're here together yet again. We, just so you know, have a series called the Authenticity Project, and it's great. We've had a lot of great comments on it, and it's worth watching. And we're doing a new segment.
Yay! We are.
So that's going to come out probably by April. So you'll see that soon. So yeah, so we're just going to start where we always start and start with breath outward, which is the first step of Om. So breathing all the way out through the perineum, through the floor, into the earth, to S's, and then releasing the belly, letting the breath come back in through the perineum. And then I just open up the body. So I always feel like moving whenever I do it. So it just gives us a feeling so we're not like stiff and overly observant in any one place. Just letting the movement move the body out as the breath goes out. And then the release, just kind of tell us where the warmth wants to go in the body, starting from the belly. And then we can start feeling that warmth moving around. We have enough awareness of the body that we can know what's happening without always referencing what's already happened, which is what the tendency is with voice and life. We want to reference from the now and how the body is feeding us that information. And so that's the work here. So we're going to move into the next sound that is part of the Oman's method, which is poo. And it doesn't matter where we land. Oo behind P. Poo. Just see where it lands and just see what happens. Yeah. Oh, did you have your original sound for musicians on? You know how it like gets all weird if you don't turn it on.
Which one is that?
So it's if you go to your little arrow by your microphone.
Yep.
And you go to audio settings.
Audio setting, yep.
And then it will be after speaker, after microphone, you'll see audio profile. Then you'll see a little dot. And that dot, it has choices. And you can go down to original sound for musicians.
Original sound for musicians. So click on that one, right?
Yeah. And then I check off echo and stereo, but I uncheck. So it's open and white, the high fidelity music mode. So I'm not sure if you have all of those.
Uncheck the high fidelity music mode.
I uncheck it because what happens is that it condenses the sound, so it gives me less to work with.
Got it.
Yeah.
So check the second and third one, echo and stereo.
Yeah, exactly. And then you come back to where your face is, and then it's the at the top by the recording dot. You'll see original sound, and you have to click it to turn it on.
The original sound. I already have it clicked on, so do I have to do anything else?
Nope, it's all good.
Okay, great.
That's it. Perfect. Yeah, sounds about the same so far. So we'll do the poo. Yep. So as you breathe out, and then releasing the belly, and just poo, and see where it lands. That's good. And just let that belly relax back to breath after the sound. And then when you say poo, poo, just back to breath. And there you go. And then sound, the So any note is fine. We're going to be nice and low so that we can just relax, let the belly flop over the belt if it needs to. Ah,
Ah,
yeah. And do a few of those. Ah,
ah.
yeah. And then I just do some sighing. So we'll do our ma sigh, all behind M. So remembering the vocal cords are all the way down here. Ma. Wherever it lands is fine.
Ah.
Yeah. And then we're both kind of low right now. So a little poo, another poo. Yeah. And then I like to do a poo sigh, so that gives us kind of a balance of the two. So poo, just see where it falls.
Woo!
Yeah. So fun today, y'all. We're going to be working on a chant. We're going to be talking about a little bit of chanting. I love chanting. I don't do it as much as I can. But it's great, especially for those of us who are interested in our voices arcing energy and being that catalyst and conduit for us. So it's a great practice. I'm really excited that Jen brought us a chant today. And I don't know if I can say it. So Tare Tu, is it
Tare.
Toot?
Yeah. So Om
Toot
Tare
Tare Ture
So
Swaha. Soha. She sounded like saying Swaha.
yeah.
I wonder if that's a thing.
It's very
But
beautiful. It's a very beautiful chant. It brings you to that calm and peacefulness that we really need to feel in this chaotic place that we're in, the world. All right.
I feel like if we can tap into peace right now, like we're powerful beings. We're powerful beings. So beautiful. So yeah, so let's just go through it. And part of chanting to me is really letting the words and how they fall on the body, how they fall on the vocal cords, be part of the movement, which I think of voice as an inner dance, right? And then in the feelingness or that like kind of yeah that feelingness of peace or until you've lived into it or moved into the feeling of peace, like how much we appreciate peace, right? And then that kind of gives us a doorway. So let's just say the words without kind of sustaining sound, which is more singing than talking, right? So let's just say the words first. And as you breathe out, Om Tare Tut Tare Ture Soha.
Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha.
Mhm.
Om
And
Tare
so,
Ture Soha.
and so, just like when we're breathing all the way out, I want you to feel the belly move as you say the words. Om Tare Tut Tare Ture Soha.
Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha. Wow, I can go pretty low.
Yeah, so now we're going to add in those vowels. So the trick to sustaining sound is to recognize that we need lots and lots of vowels
Mm.
because they're so much longer than when we're speaking, and those quick vowels when we're speaking. And so the body thinks we're done before we are. So we have to keep sending that message, right? So you're still saying O when you've closed to M, which is kind of how we started our exercises on ma, right?
Mm.
Ma. That's why I love that sound because it feels so good. That vibration that feeds back to the body is so happifying. I don't know how else to say it. But yeah, so letting that O keep resonating in those initial vowels, right? Om. Let's see if you can say. There you go.
Om.
And you feel how your lips start buzzing and the vibration starts.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
just feel like it's an energetic massage for me.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I love that feeling. So fun, right? All sounds have that possibility. We're just, we're a little bit more familiar with the Om, especially for those who chant. But all sounds have this living vibration that happens as a result from speaking the sound. And tare. Let's see if you can find that vibration that happens with each of the sounds. Ah is such an open sound. We tend to kind of want to make it outward, but there's a night. It always falls to the belly if we fully release that breath. Tare, tare. You want to try that?
Tare.
Yeah, so let's go back to ma. Ma.
Ma.
Ma. You feel that in the belly?
Yep, I do.
Yep, it's the same. Let that same space be open. Tare.
Tare.
Yeah, and air has its own little space too. It's not as open and big as ah, so sometimes it's like, oh, it had to go somewhere else, but it's not really somewhere else. It's on the same energetic framework as the rest of our body. So for those who know about chakras and energy centers and even points of energy, it's going to find these little points, and that's part of the reason why they so clearly define where they are, because they will resonate and they will feed back or not feed back to your body in a way that you can feel. And that's part of how we can kind of tune into where we are with the sound and with the phrase too. So re, so lots and lots of es. Eh.
Tare.
There you
Le.
go. It's a little weird. It kind of disperses, right? It's kind of wraps and then doesn't quite stay in the same place.
Right.
As a little ethereal.
Yes, it is. It does feel like that.
Yeah.
Tare.
Yeah, we just gotta let it be bouncy, right? There's nothing wrong here. It's just part of the shape of the sound. Now let's try the ture, ture. However it happens is fine. Yeah, but it's always, I like to let sound surprise me, right? If I just really release that breath, really just go to the ooh without thinking about how am I getting there, right?
Right.
It's like it just does that. It's like a little sparkler. And this is how words are magic, right? There's a vibration to each of these sounds that, and then when you put them together, it creates a world. It does. And so the more that we let that vibration be consciously, experienced and then invited, is how we are in co-creation with those sounds. Yeah.
Mm, beautiful. Thank
So ture.
you.
Yeah, I like that. Just let it be airy. Soha, soha,
Soha.
soha. So H is an aspiration, so we don't have to send any extra energy on that. It's going to be just part of the moving from O to A. Yeah. Soha.
Soha.
Yeah. And notice how like that knowledge doesn't keep you from saying H, right? But it makes it part of the same movement. In other
Mm,
words, you're not going so ha, right?
right.
Where we separate it. When we allow it to be part of the same movement, the vibration lives better. Like it can be much stronger. So that's what we want. We like, as far as in my opinion, that's the goal, is to have that vibration, and just bathe it in the vibration of the chant, right? So if we go more with that, almost silent H, so ha, right? See where it drops you. Like the ahs are different when you, depending on where they are in the word, right? So ha.
Let it surprise me right now.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah, so let's see how far we can let it drop.
Oh.
Yeah. And sub vocal sounds are really powerful too. That's kind of what we're leaning into right now, where we have this this really low openness, right? And what I love about that is that, because there's a vibration that happens in the auric field that we don't always appreciate because it's not loud and visceral, but it's very, very healing and extremely energizing. So I think having that understanding and letting that part of the sound live, even when we're being more loud or vocal, that it adds dimension and adds vivacity. I don't know how else to say it in the sound, right? So
Okay, let's see if I can go there. So,
I love it. So that one moved into like a vocal fry situation, which is cool too. I love vocal fry because it tells you how far you are. It tells you how far you are to like how deep
surrendering,
you can go.
like surrendering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love that too. So as we go, like as you're finding the ah that we move to, it's in an arc. It's in, like not every ah is the same. There's ah, there's ah, there's ah. Like depending on how you allow the tongue to play and what is going towards. So consonants count, right? Om tare tu tare, right? So that you feel how like there's a natural rhythm, there's a natural, like it happens because of the shape of the sound,
Mm.
right? Let's try putting it all together this time and really feeling into the belly as we let these vowels repeat. Om tare tu re suha.
Om tare ture soha.
Yeah. And that ah, now that we're getting all our spectrums in, I want that to have more feedback towards the body. So like I think of it as efficiency. It's not always the most heartwarming word, but so I want to feel it, and that vibration to feel. We want to move toward more said vowel, the way you would say it, ma is our reminder. Ma is how it'll feel. Ma. Yeah, you feel that vibration now?
Can we try again? Not too sure.
Yeah, yeah. Try that ma again and just try it
Ma.
out. Yeah, you see how it's still low? There's still a lot of space in it, but we can also feel it.
Yeah, right.
Ma.
Ma.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to know what my little glitch is going on with my finger, it's how I think of how fast I'm saying the ahs. I
Oh,
think of each of them individually. Ma. Yeah. And just as like a, again, it creates more efficiency. And the reason why I decided I liked it is because I like the way it made me feel because the vibration is stronger,
Mm,
right? So if I just go ma, then it's very short.
right.
It's nice, it's pleasant, but it's like not awe-inspiring, not, right? But if I go ma, like that feels like warm soup, hot cocoa, and a nice bath all together.
I like, I like how you put it. Okay. Let's
Yeah, try
try
it.
again. Ma.
Yeah, get all
Not like a
those
cocoa.
edges. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So, ture, sorry, ture soha. I want you to revel in it.
Om tare tu re so ha. It's harder to
Hmm.
get down to the ha part. Yeah.
Yeah. So that H is still kind of in the way a little bit. Soha, soha. So less about saying the H and more about moving toward ah.
Mm.
Soha. Yeah, you feel how there's more traction there?
Yeah, yeah.
You want to
Rather
try
than
that word
focus,
by itself?
yeah, rather than focusing on the consonant of H, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Om tu re so
Oh.
Getting weird.
It's getting weird. That's how you know you're in a good lesson is when it gets weird. All right, so that's my mind. That's what I've convinced myself of. All right, so
Yeah, yeah, let's do it.
so yeah, so like again, when you say let's say again without extension. Let's say it like we were just saying a verse or something, right? Om tare tutare se ture. Say, I messed that up terribly. All right, om tare tutare ture soha. Yeah, om tare tutare ture soha.
Om
Hmm.
tu re soha.
Uh, So, and now that we're saying that, we don't want to say it any differently. We
Mm.
just want to say that more vowels of those. Om tare tu tare tere dure soha. I keep wanting to change that word.
So
Go
focusing more
ahead.
on the vowel now,
Hmm.
eating more of the vowel.
So yeah, and that's the trick. Is that a lot of people feel like they have to do something to elongate it, but all we're doing is continuing to say the vowel.
Ah, okay. Hmm.
Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
not saying it more or harder or in a special place or anything like that. We're just saying it again. Om tare tu re so ha. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, let me try. Om tu re so ha.
Yeah. What you want is that belly to warm up and roll around just like when we do with the breath out. All right. So just like it does it with the ma, ma. You feel that warmth and that roll around. Feel that again, ma.
Ma. Like
Yeah,
you're breathing something warm.
yeah. And if we let it fall back, it goes more to that vocal fry place, right? So we don't get as much of that feedback back to the body. But if we allow it to stay, where remember I used to talk about ka, where
Yeah.
ka is where the highest efficiency, highest focus is. Ka, right? Ka. Say that one.
Ka.
And keep letting that belly roll around. Stay present with it. Ka. Yeah, you see how you can literally direct vibration with that? Like you can, if you do that enough times, and you can literally point it towards different energy centers, right?
Mm.
And people think that that's about a certain sound or a certain note. So no, there's different kinds of sounds. So it could be high or low notes. It can be certain vowel sounds they think are related to certain chakras, which I get. There's just some that are more prone to certain coloring than others. But we can choose actually what any sound is arcing toward energetically if we are in cooperation with that vibration,
Yeah.
right? So as we do this again, so we're going to do the full one this time. Om tare tutare ture soha. Just feeling that belly warm and relaxed with the breath moving back to the earth.
Om Hare Tutare Ture Soha.
Yeah, that H is still pushing it forward a little
Yeah.
bit. That separates it, drops it back a little bit. But that's okay too. It'll be easier. Do you want to do it with the song now?
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, that's a little bit easier on notes.
I play from my side or
Yeah, you can play yours so you know where it is and all that.
you hear it clearly?
You can hear it, yeah. Okay, you can pause it now. So yeah, and so how did that feel?
It feels very yeah, not till you talk about warmth. I really do feel the warmth when I'm singing along with the yeah,
Hmm.
the words.
Yeah. So that's what we were looking for. So I want what I'm wanting is a little bit more of that belly relax
Mm,
in those places where you have more time, right?
okay.
Tutare soha. Like really let the belly keep moving and that keep releasing that breath. And then when you're done with the sound, back
Mm.
to the earth. You don't stop the breath. You just let it keep going back, right? So yeah. So do you want to do it with the track again, or do you want to do it by yourself?
Uh, back again first, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it with the track
We
again.
will continue to play this. I think there's something that I find myself kind of like not able to catch up the breath for the whole entire sentence of Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. It's like Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. I need to
Ah, yeah.
between, you know?
Well, part of it's because you're letting the track lead you, right? And I was actually just gonna have that conversation. So when we're like not, when we're kind of letting the track tell us what's next, right? Then
Mm.
we have to jump ahead of our of our body kind of in order to be on time. So you
Oh,
don't get the same feeling of being in sync, you know? But if you know, if you trust that you know what's coming because you've heard it before, and it's just like a little net, right? So that it catches you if you suddenly forget, whatever, you know. Um, and so that we anticipate anytime we're singing with a track and we want to really feel it in our body, we want to anticipate what's coming. So
mm,
breathing in for what's next is what I call that. So as you hear the music leading in, even that you're breathing in the feeling of what's next. Tare. Tare, right? Already feeling how that's going to move through the body. That's why the vibration is so powerful because you can already feel where the arc is going to go just by breathing, you
true.
know? And so once you've had that vibrational experience physically on our bodies, it's really hard to pretend like we can't remember how the song goes
Yeah.
because our bodies already know it doesn't take a repetition. They could tell you what the whole song is if you got out of the way enough. The bodies themselves, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so it's kind of just seeing where does it land naturally, right? Like where does that happen when you breathe in or breathe out? So my first set of listening is the breath out, and then my second set is the breath in, right? But it's always like, even though I don't know the song that well, right? What I'm doing is I'm seeing what my body remembers. It may not
Mm.
be clear to me, but it doesn't mean it's not clear to my body, right? And so I just see how much I remember, and what I mostly remember is the way it feels,
Mm.
like how my body felt
Yeah.
when the sound happened, right? So when we let that lead us, oh yes, I remember how it felt when I did it the last time, or last time I heard it. Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. So that when we look at the words, like we wrote it down here in the chat, tare tutare, right? So, and I look at those words, I'm not just saying those words, I'm hearing the lady.
Yeah.
You hear it? You hear it?
I do.
It's
I
just in
do.
my head, but I hear it. Okay. But that's what we want. That is actually the song intention.
Mm.
People think that they have to re-sing things, but once the body hears a sound, it's actually already singing. You just have to start the cycle. In other words, you just have to decide to start, and then the body will flow into what it already hears, unless you tell it
Yeah.
something different.
Yeah. It's about like really trusting how your body is gonna guide you through its own memory, sort of, right? It's on a
Yeah,
cellular level.
yeah.
It's but you're right, you know, because I think I wasn't able to catch up with my breath was because there's that anticipation of the next the next word is gonna come out. I have to catch up, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So this time we're going to do with the recording, but this time we're not going to sing. We're just going to hear it for a couple cycles, right? So we're going to listen
Okay.
uh, what with the breath moving so that we can feel how our bodies are feeling about the sound, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so we're going to do the breath outward as we listen. Yeah.
All right. So let me just press.
we're just going to see what happens. All right. Om Tare.
See, I
Yeah.
can't see the whole entire phrase, but
It's beautiful though. Yeah, and so yeah, so I love it because I love the way the belly wrapped around for that, right? But what happened is also wrapping frontward. We kind of wanted to wrap towards the back, and it really is an always movement. But I want it not to be like something you feel like you have to make it do. It's what's happening naturally. Again, we're just allowing it to happen. So on tare to tare to re, letting that back, soak
wow.
that up. It's going to give you the impetus for the next movement.
Mm.
To re, so.
Okay.
So you want to start from the first type.
The first type as
On tare.
Tare, tu tare, tu re, so, ha. Tare, tu tare, tu re, so.
Yeah. And I'm not, the thing about recordings as well is that they can erase those kind of things. The way she's singing, I wouldn't be super surprised if she's not breathing in the same place that you're breathing, right?
Ah, okay.
Um, uh, it would just be like kind of a catch breath, probably. You wouldn't even necessarily know you're breathing unless you're purposely breathing, which I don't think she's doing. But but it can give you that same feeling of seamlessness if you just do like kind of a catch breath where the belly just drops a bit. And when I say belly, there's 10 different parts of the belly. Like we mostly pay attention to the front, below the belly button, and like kind of the top of the pelvic area. But it's actually the drop that happens when you do a catch breath is way lower. It's towards the perineum. It's in that girdle. It's
Yeah.
in that perineum girdle. Like I forget what the name of it is. So it's kind of just like kind of opens up. It's like below all the mechanics, mostly, not all of them, but a lot of them. So yeah, so when we're going, and again, like what I love is just that you're letting it be ethereal, but I think what you want is a little bit more of that just sturdiness that feels like you can like
Mhm.
that you don't have to worry about sustaining it, you
Yeah.
know. And so even on that ha, so ha, that same feeling that we've been looking to have more experience of, yeah. Tare, tu tare, tu re, so that is, I mean, especially in that type of singing, like that was a long phrase, right? If I didn't trust that I wasn't going to run out of air, I might not have made it. So again, like I think most people would breathe.
Mm.
Like after that tare is a good place to breathe. Especially in chanting, it's no way you're making it time after time for like 1,000 times. Like
Impossible.
that's not happening. I'm sorry. You might have gotten a lot of them, but not all of them. You're going to breathe in between at some point, you know?
Yeah, but that's
It's,
beautiful though. I mean, you made it the breathing part of it, it feels very seamless, right? Like you don't hear that breaking right there, but it's really seamless.
well, that's what comes from breathing all the way out and breathing back into the
Mm,
same space,
mm,
right? I'm not breathing all the way up the perineum and then breathing in from mouth to, that's like a lot of traveling. Number one, yes, physically air comes through the mouth. I will understand that. And what I know is that the lungs fill from the bottom up. The
mm.
lungs fill from the bottom up. So if you're co-creating with your breath, which is trying to do what it's doing without your help, right? Like it's automatic. And so if we just let the breath happen naturally, the belly drops open. Why? Because it starts from the lungs up.
True.
And so it's going to naturally, the body's going to make space so the
Mm,
lungs can fill from the bottom up, right? And so that's the natural happening. So a lot of this visioning, while it might not be physically accurate, is like the closest we're going to get to understanding how the body's really working.
mm,
You know, so when I'm breathing in through my perineum. I don't feel like I have to pull up anything for that, right? It stays low, so I don't have to get anywhere to breathe in, right? Finishing the breath to perineum, breathing back into the same star. You don't even know I'm breathing, right? Why? Because I don't have to move. I'm already where I need to be.
right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's what we want. We want to let it be the cycle be the same cycle. The easier, the more we allow that to happen, the easier it'll get.
Mm,
Om tare tu tare tu re sa. And just trust the body. So unless I passed out, I have breath left. That's how I think of it. But I've trained myself not to panic,
mm. Wow.
right? But
Mhm.
that's part of the practice of omans as well. It's like not panicking because you think you don't have enough breath,
Mm, mm.
right? And like panicking for something that's just number one, not true. Number two, like it's taken care of. Like even if you were like against living enough not to breathe, the body would just knock you out and start breathing for you,
Yep.
right? So
Mhm.
like you're not dying, we're not dying right now. You know? So it's really about how much do I trust that the body will catch me,
Mm. I
right?
love, I love that. So it's not
And
really about
the
like our relationship with the sounds, but then the relationship with our body, how safe that we feel that it's gonna catch us wherever
that
we
is
are.
going to catch us, that it knows what it's doing, that we already know the song, we already know what the note is. You don't have to go find it, right? It's all right here. It's not going anywhere. The vocal cords aren't going to go to a new town. Like we
Yeah.
don't have to, right? Like we don't have to go find it.
Yeah.
Everything is right here.
Mm.
And the more that we're open to that lower space for that full breath outwards without feeling like we have to pick ourselves back up to
Right.
control,
Right.
yeah, the more we're exactly where we need to be for that next breath, the less work it takes to make it. And so you don't have that gap feeling of like, have
Mm.
you ever done that where you thought you needed a lot of breath and then you breathe too much and you feel like you're choking on it? Has
Sure.
that ever happened? Yeah, like, so that's how we escape that by trusting the body knows how much breath it needs to make the sound that you intend.
Mm.
We don't
Mm.
question it when we're talking. We don't say, oh my gosh, you don't know how much oxygen I need to say this sentence. It's like, you don't even know what I'm going to say yet. You don't know what to talk about. Like, we don't feel that way when we're talking. We're not like, I don't think you can handle this, right?
Oh my God, that's so true.
But like, if you heard the phrase, the body knows how long the phrase is.
Yeah.
So if you allow the breath to happen, if you just released and let the air in, then you have plenty of air for the intention. The body's not going to give you like, well, you don't, here's a, what they call it, a fraction of, what they, here's your share, right? Like you get this much share. Oh, wait, I know it's barely, it's not going to make it to the whole rest of the phrase, but, I guess come back for more if you really need it, right? No, it's going to give you more than enough because it's also got to feed your brain. It's got to feed the rest of your body knows way more than you do. We would have died a long time ago if we were in charge. Like we are not in charge. Let's just like give that up, you know? And so the more that we're kind of like, yeah, I can, instead of saying, I can figure out how to make it through the phrase. Well, I'm going to hold on to my air so I can make it to the end of the phrase. This is another really bad idea that we have a lot of times. Like I'm going to hold on to the air so that I can make it to the end. But the physics of that does not work, folks. Like the physics is that we need the impetus in order to make it to the end. The other belief is like, well, if I'm not as visceral with the sound, or if I don't sing as loudly, kind of this kind of thing, if I don't put so much into it, then I'll make it to the end of the phrase. But it's the complete opposite. In order for you to have efficiency, you must have traction. All right. Otherwise, it's gonna go or stop on its own. There's no co-creation in that, right? Like the physics of it is not even like you need a point of friction in order for action and work to take place. Like it has to. Like that's just the nature of energy, right? And so not backing away from those brighter, bigger sounds. Tare tu tare. The more we let them live, the longer we have. Right?
Down, the more we let them
Yeah, because they will actually re-energize. This is actually like if y'all want to know how magic y'all are, like play it with your voice. Because if you have a really energized, focused sound, it'll actually feed energy back to the body. You don't need more breath. It's a little spooky actually the way that happens. And you can hear this in like transcendental singers, and I can't think of anything right off the top. Like there's a few out there that are like, when was the last time that person breathed? Like I don't remember them breathing. It's weird, right? I mean, live performances. And it is that ability to just ride the vibration. You're literally just riding it. You're not in charge. You never really are in charge. But the less you act like it, the more the sound gets to live. You know? So I think that is a really powerful lesson. That and just the vibrational feedback. The more we're letting that vibration, let it make you happy. Get like, as full as you do off at the Klondike bar. I don't know, I don't eat ice cream, but but like let it warm the body up. Let it be visceral, right? And it's exciting that same like visceral vibration is what it takes to make it through the phrase without breathing.
So I wrote it down. The more we let it as sound, right? Let the sound live, the more your sounds serve the body vibrationally.
Yeah, in both directions. So you said let the sound live, and that to me is that vibrational arc, right? Some of us, like, especially with really high notes or really fast movements, or mostly high notes, that feeling feels like a tunnel, like you're going into, I think of it as a vacuum. And a lot of people do. A lot of people think of it, it's not just me, as a vacuum, which is just all a vacuum in it is a really fast toroidal space, right? Where the arc of the material energy is on the outside. So it
Mm.
feels like there's less density on the inside, which is what creates the vacuum, right? And so that's what really is happening. It really is what's happening. So when you create the vibration is the vacuum. So if you think about, I know I'm getting really sciencey, so I'm sorry for those who I'm just like totally not not with me on this. But if you think about vibration, it's just another word for the wave going by in a way that we can feel it. Okay. So when you think of that wave, the the midpoint is where there's less impetus. So there's less density at the midpoint, right? So like if you go into the arc, it's going to swing you, swing you, swing you, swing you. That's what the vibration is about. And that's there's more density, more speed at the top and the bottom of that vibrational wave, right? So that less density space is the vacuum.
Mm.
And you'll hear my vibrato gets faster the more I'm writing that vibration. Yeah. So if that's really kind of what we're always playing with, we're playing with this. And in order to feel kind of where the capacity of that arc is, then we want to have the belly open to feel that vibration. So when you, because I can hear you, I can hear you when you're listening to it. That doesn't make a sound, but that's how it works in my head. When you listen to it, I hear this movement, and I'm
Mm.
like immediately I think dancer, which I know you are, but it's so interesting that it comes up every time I hear you sing because I can feel this kind of arcing with from your energetic body. I don't know, but it's I can feel you in the space,
Yeah.
right? And so in singing, it's just like kind of a reverse function of that. Is that
Wow.
that space is how you would arc back to the belly.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just like right back instead of these kind of outward gestures.
Wow.
Is what I was feeling. And like even a back gesture, which is gorgeous and very few people would think to do, but like in the other direction, and so that we're feeding back to the belly.
Mm. Mm.
Does that make physical sense? I know my words aren't making sense, people
I
in
mean,
public,
it
but
does make
my
sense to me.
physically, does that, are you
Yeah,
feeling that?
yeah, it does. And it's very visual to me, to be honest. It's very visual.
Yeah.
And how like Green Tara, the Kuan Yin, has many thousands of arms, right? It's doing great things. Yeah.
Mm.
So um, when you're talking about not latching onto the air, I'm not having enough air to breathe into the next moment, right? Like let it all go and just trust that
Yeah. Like, who
all.
cares if you don't have enough air? Just breathe if like if you want to breathe, breathe. Like, it is what it be, right? Like, it's more important that we're like available for what's next. And so if it takes a breath to be available, take a breath. If it means that it'll just like take you out of your concentration and inner focus, then see what happens. Keep going, you know? So how does that feel? Like, do you feel like you want to do it again one more time before you leave, or
Okay, let's do one more time. Let's
let's
play.
do it one more time? I want to see like if you can kind of bring in that inner dance feeling, and really kind of just go with what's happening.
Integrating it for sure. Okay. yeah, I just let myself breathe in the middle, whatever.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's perfect. Everything is perfect. It's perfect. So, yeah, so I just want to give you a chance to do it one more time because we weren't singing for a while, then I jumped you into it. And again, I want you to feel movement. Now, so less about kind of what's happening and
yeah,
more about where like internalized dance, where would I go next and how do I allow that within the body, right? Tare. And this is what I'm looking for. People are like, there's a way to do it. There's a put your feet on the floor and there's a posture and a structure and a ba 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 ba. And I'm like, all I'm looking for is a movement. I don't
mm,
care what kind of movement it is, but if we're not moving, then we're not being natural. And we've learned this, like in especially in corporate, but like as adults, like adults just sit still and they pay attention, and it looks like this, right? And there's like nothing natural about that, right? So we just want to be moving somehow. It doesn't have to be a ton of movement, just
yeah,
something, yeah?
yeah.
Yeah, just that if we wanted to sway, that we did, and that if we lean forward a little bit, that we allow it. If we lean backward a little bit, that we allow it, right?
Om Tare Tu Re Sa. Om Tare Tu Re Sa. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Sa. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Sa.
Beautiful. You see how much more energy there was? You're like, oh my gosh, I wasn't
Yeah,
expecting
yeah,
that.
moving is
Yeah,
yeah,
but that's your main, you're a fire sign. You gotta move, hon. You can't just sit there.
yeah,
I think that's one of those weird things, we bring into spirituality as well. It's just like kind of stillness, inner stillness. And it's just kind of like, yeah, but like what even when we're still, there's movement because our hearts are beating and there's blood going and there's a lot of
yep,
things.
yep.
And you just gotta remember that even in stillness, there's movement. Uh, Nothing is perfectly still. We know that we keep trying to make that a thing. That's not, life does not stay still. Life, to live, means not staying still.
I love that.
Okay?
I love that. Yeah.
Like, life refuses to stay still. So, who are we to think that that's going to happen? And then, especially when our beingness, our archetypes are, are the place of movement. Like literally, fire is initiation. Like literally, it's about getting going, right? So it's really something that we want to honor in ourselves as we
Mm,
be doing all the things. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, Madame is universe.
Oh,
Yeah, so let that energy move. And like when you have more experiences of it, you'll be less surprised. And, but like, yeah, but like let that energy be part of it.
right, right. Definitely gonna play with that. Yeah, every day.
Yeah. That
Thank
beautiful.
you. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Jen. And thank you guys for joining me. We are having a voice class on Friday. So if you want to hang out with a group voice class, live on YouTube, it'll be on Friday. I'll put the link in the description and I will see you all next time. Oh, and
Bye.
check out Jen Ying's, I'll tag her. I'll tag her. Check out her
Okay.
channel as well. Okay.
Thank you. Bye,
Thank
guys.
you. Bye bye.